Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Hu, and today we're going to see what's going to be the best stocks for this week. We're going to have a look as well in what stocks we should have in our portfolio to protect us against inflation, and I'm going to talk about the performance of my portfolio this week. So stay around. Before we start the video, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Only 2.5% of my viewers are subscribers, and I need your help to achieve the 1000 subscribers, so don't forget to smash that button. Now let's go back to the video. So this week we're going to start with Philip Morris International, which I had in my portfolio in the past, but I've changed with BAT, which is British American Tobacco, which has a higher dividend yield, and we don't need to pay the 30% of tax that we need to pay in American US stocks. So they have a dividend yield of 5.54%. They pay quarterly March, June, September, and December, and they are undervalued in 43.5%. The ex-dividend date is on the 19th of March, and the financial health is 2G. Actually, they are really good in terms of financial health. The assets against the liabilities are quite high, and the market sentiment, it's a buy. What we see in this graph is actually the past week's performance. So they are increasing in this past weeks, but they are still undervalued in 43%, and this is a really good company to buy. If you don't have anything on the tobacco sector and with a nice dividend yield as a 5%, this is a good option to go to. WPM Medical Properties Trust, this is actually one of the stocks that I have at the moment on my portfolio. They have a dividend yield of 5.28%. They pay quarterly in March, June, September, and December, and they are undervalued in 48.7%. Actually, I've done some averaging on the past weeks. The performance of the stock has not been great, but the financial health, it's 3Gs, which is quite good, but we have here asterisk. What it means is the existing assets don't support the future liabilities, but we are talking about a difference of 9 billion between existing assets and future liabilities. This is a REIT on the medical sector, and I don't think they will have a big impact. I will explain you this later on this video, why this is a good to have on your portfolio, because it's a REIT, and this is going to help us to fight against the inflation that we're going to suffer now around 1% or 1.5%, but I'll explain you this later. So this is the real estate. It's a healthcare REIT, so they are undervalued in 48%, and I do think it's a really nice to have on your portfolio, as I have as well. The stocks that I'm mentioning now are stocks that they don't reach the 5% of dividend yields, but they are in my portfolio, and I think it's important for you to know other stocks that are in my portfolio that's going to have the ex-dividend date this week as well. So this is going to be Walmart on the 18th of March with a 1.67% of dividend yield, and AGVO Broadcom on the 19th of March with a dividend yield of 3.17%. Actually, the dividend yield of AGVO is quite good, and they are quite a profitable company. The problem is the tax have suffered a bit because the growth stocks have been suffering this week, and I'm going to explain you this in a few moments. One of the reasons that I want to bring this up this week about the inflation is because we're going to have inflation around 1% to 1.5% this year. This already has been mentioned on the news on the Thursday or Friday, and we already saw this in the market on the past week, which was we had a shift from the growth stocks to the value stocks. My portfolio had increased around 8% because my portfolio have a lot of value stocks and a few growth stocks. Most of it is composed on dividend stocks, so that's why it had a big impact this week, my portfolio, and that's why they grow so much. So the top dividend assets that you should have on your portfolio is, in this case, gold. I do also have gold on my portfolio through the ETF of GLDM. REITs, which I also have, and I already mentioned this today, one REIT that we should have on our portfolio, which is the healthcare REITs, the MPW, and companies on the SP 500 that's going to allow us to grow and won't have too much impact on this inflation. And of course, bonds, which I do also have. I do have some ETFs that have bonds, and this is going to be a really good protection for this inflation that we're going to suffer in upcoming months and this year. Why the growth stocks had so much impact and why there was a shift from the growth stocks to value stocks. So what is value stocks? So actually value stocks are companies that are on energy sector and financial sector, and the growth stocks usually are related to high tech or internet. In this case, things are growth stocks, and on the energy sector we have like ET, BP, or CVX, which are stocks that I also have on my portfolio. And financial sector, we do have a few other companies there which I can show you in my portfolio. So if you want to copy all the trades that I have done, you just need to go to eToro and search by Knight, and you can copy and add me into your list. At the moment, my portfolio had a growth of 24.7% in the past 12 months. What makes me happy is actually all the copiers that I have on my portfolio are positive at the moment, and with an average of 11% of growth. Those that are more than 3 months with me, they had this growth. I do see some people copy me and leaving me after a few days. They only had a growth of 0.5%. That's not enough. I don't know. I don't even bother to do that. Actually, if you guys want to copy me, you should have at least an average permanence or at least of 3 months, so you can get really good gains. Otherwise, you will be losing money actually. So my portfolio last week overperformed the market in around 3.5%, with my portfolio being at 9.14% and the US market at 5.6%. And my portfolio since inception have a growth of 17.61%. The top stocks on the 7 days return were Walgreen Boots Alliance with 9.95%, ARK ETF with 8.66%. Actually, I bought ARK 2 weeks ago, so we had a really good increase. So this was right spot on. And we also have with a similar growth Palantir with 8.09%. The principal financial group had a growth of 7.82%, and Chevron around 6.4%. So these are actually two stocks that are valued stocks that had increase, as I mentioned before, which is the principal financial group, which is a financial sector, and Chevron on energy sector, and they had a really big growth. Palantir is the exception here because it's a growth stock, and they also had a big increase during this week. So now let's go look into the spreadsheets and let's see what payments that we received this week, and also what acquisitions and average that I've done during this week. So now let's jump into the spreadsheet. So if you didn't saw the spreadsheet before, this is a spreadsheet that you can use to copy my trades and to simulate how much you're going to receive per month, where I'm updating the spreadsheet every single Friday after the market close. And here, where you can see here, you have the amounts of investment that you can do. You can put $500, or which is the minimum, or $1,000 for example. And here you can get the total amounts, how much you're going to receive per month. Here is how much you're going to receive per month, which is about $2.50. And here how much is going to be the total at the end of the year. Bear in mind this is after tax, because here I'm already putting here the amount of tax that you're going to pay. For in this case is going to be US. This is UK. So UK you don't pay tax, and for that reason this is already after tax. And this here is going to be the number of shares that you're going to buy when you copy me with the $1,000. So what we've received this month, so we are in the month of March. So in the month of March we had the payment of AGNC. We have also the payment of CVX and also DIV. We also have the payments of Microsoft. Microsoft was paid this month. I just reduced the dimensions. I don't know if you can see the values, but here on the Microsoft we're going to have a payment on March, but actually the payment was done on February. So we have a delay, and we need to count with this with Microsoft. So we need to check every single time our statements when we've been paid or not. Now let me go back. So in the past week, AMZA and ARK, I did add some average. They were quite negative, around 5%, and they are now around 2%, 1%. And we also have a new acquisition, which is Berkshire Hathaway. We had this acquisition this week as well. This was one that I always wanted to have on my portfolio. And in this case, if you copy me with $1,000, it's going to be 0.04% of the shares that you're going to get. One of the questions that I had actually with the new rules of eToro was if this copy is going to be done. Yes, it's going to be done because it's more than 1% of your portfolio when you are copying me. So let's do here $500, for example. When you're copying me with a $500, what's going to happen is not 1%, but is actually more than $2, which is the minimum required by eToro. So this is the minimum transaction that I do. In principle, it's going to be copied into your portfolio as well. So there's no actions on your side that needs to be done. These orders that I'm going to execute, they're also going to execute on your portfolio. One more thing that we can do here is look into our dividend yields that we're going to have. So we have AGNC, which is a financial company, and ET, which is the energy sector. We have BATS with tobacco. We have TNT. We have here another financial company, which is Main, GlaxoSmithKline, BP, XLE, Chevron. So actually, what's happening here, the most dividend stocks that I have and the most value stocks that I have on my portfolio are the ones actually with higher dividend yields, and they had a big impact this week because they increased a lot this week. Because all the stocks that I had before, like Palantir, Twitter, Facebook, Corsair, they didn't have a big growth because of this shift. I hope you enjoyed this week's video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the like, and click on the bell so you can receive upcoming videos. And you guys can find me on eToro, you can find me on Discord, or even if you want, just leave a comment and I will respond to you as soon as possible. So thank you and cheers, and see you next week.